So, good morning everyone. Today I will going to report our topic about Unit 9, so risk management and occupational rehabilitation program. So, what is policy? So, OHSP or personnel is committed to providing a safe and healthy workplace for all workers. So, in the event of a work-related injury, we will take all necessary steps to ensure the injury does not happen again. So, should one of our workers incur a work-related injury that means they are unable to continue their normal work, we will provide the necessary assistance for them to remain at work, or return to work as soon as possible. So, we will do this through risk management and occupational rehabilitation, and our commitments are as follows. So, risk management. So, OHSP or personnel will take all practicable steps to identify, assess, and control any known or potential risk to their workers. So, encourage the early reporting of any symptoms of an injury or disease related to the work or our workers undertake. So, investigate all incidents and accidents, injuries, or near misses to identify their causes and prevent them happening again. So, comply with our legal obligations, including notification of incidents to work safe Victoria when required. Next, the risk management process. So, identify the hazard. Identifying hazard involves finding all of the tasks, situation, and sequences of events that could potentially cause harm. So, assess the risk. Risk management is involved considering what could happen if someone is exposed to a hazard. So, consequence and the likelihood of it happening. So, control the risk. So, one hazard has been identifying and the risk assessed, appropriate control measures must be put in a place. So, the ways of controlling risks are ranked from the highest level of the protection and reliability to the lowest. So, this ranking is known as the hierarchy of risk control. You must work through his hierarchy to choose the control that most effectively eliminates or minimizes the risk in the circumstances. So far as is reasonably practicable, this may involve a single control measures or a combination of two or more different controls. So that's all my report. Thank you.
Good day, ma'am. I'm Rochelle Concepcion, and I am going to report the engineering controls. So, engineering controls. Use engineering control measures to minimize the risk. For example, installing residual current devices to reduce the risk of receiving a fatal electric shock. Engineering controls are the first line of defense against hazards. Their advantage is they have built-in protection which does not require continuous intervention. There are three main types of engineering controls, and these are the elimination, substitution, and isolation. So now let us first talk about the elimination. So elimination is a completely removes the hazard. This is the optimal means of control. It is the most effective way of protecting workers and should always be considered as the first option in controlling a hazard. So the most effective control measure is to remove the hazard or hazardous work practice. And it is by designing in or designing out certain features, hazards may be eliminated. Next is the substitution. So substitution replaces the hazards with a less hazardous one. For example, replacing a toxic, flammable liquid with a less toxic flammable one. Substitution should be used only if elimination is not possible. Replacing a hazardous process or material with one that is less hazardous will reduce the hazard and hence the risk. Just like, for example, it may be reasonably practicable to use extra low voltage electrical equipment such as a battery-operated tool rather than a tool that is plugged into mains electricity. And next is the isolation. So isolation separates hazards from workers. For example, installing screens to protect workers from dust, using distance to separate noisy machines from workers, or building soundproof enclosures around noisy machines, building an enclosures for the hazard, installing exhaust ventilation, building barriers and fences around dangerous machines, and providing guarding to equipment. So preventing workers from coming into contact with the source of an electrical hazard will reduce the relevant risk.
Good day, everyone. My name is Princess Mayku Avenido. I'm from BTL and HE, and I'm going to discuss about the administrative controls. So, what is administrative control? It involves the use of safe work practices to control the rest. For example, establishing exclusion zones, use of permits, and warning signs. So, why we need to establish exclusion zone, use of permits, and warning signs? So, exclusion zones are commonly used in the construction industry worldwide. For this purpose, they are defined locations to prohibit the entry of personnel into danger areas. So, also, the importance of using warning signs is to warn against dangerous and prohibited actions in a certain area. So the personnel must follow all the warning signs to prevent accident into their workplace. Administrative controls encourage safe workplace, so controlling workers' exposure by job rotation, work assignments in limited duration in a hazardous area, or performing hazardous tasks, establishing operating procedures, providing systematic formal training. So it means it reduces employee exposures through methods such as education and training, work reduction, job rotation, maintenance or repairs, personal hygiene, and appropriate work practices. So administrative control depend on constant human implementation or intervention. So for example, personal protective equipment or PPE is the most important worn by employees to protect them from the environment or protect them from accidents during their working times. So the next is review the control measures. So the controls that are put in place to protect health and safety must be reviewed regularly to make sure they work effectively. So it is important that you have knowledge about the controls measures for your safety and health. You must be protected by your knowledge. So next. So there are also signs, signals, and barricades that you must know. So what is it? Signs, signals, and barricades are important, if not critical, to the safety of the construction workers. It is so important that you must know the signs, signals, and barricades in your working place, I mean. So in construction, there are a lot of rest or hazards. So to avoid them, you must know the sign, signal, or barricades around you. So as you can see in the picture, there are safety signs on construction site. Now, there are hot surface. high voltage, battery charging station, no smoking or open flames, slippery when wet, watch out for pedestrians, watch out for fork left operating area. So if you are familiar with this safety signs, yes, you are away from the rest of accident.
So, good day everyone. So, by the way, I'm Jaya B. Tatoy from BTL HA3. So, my topic for today is all about signs and thugs, specifically for accident prevention, signs and thugs. So, sign is a surface unprepared for the warning of or safety instruction of industrial workers or members of the public who may be exposed to hazard. So we have the exclude, we have the new releases, safety posters, and bulletin boards. So we have the signs clarification. So we have the danger, caution, safety instruction. So the danger sign, no variation in the sign design. Employees shall be instructed that danger sign indicate immediately danger and special precaution are necessary. So we have the caution signs used to warn against potential hazard or caution against unsafe work practices. And employees shall be instructed that caution signs indicate possible hazard and proper precaution should be taken. So we have the safety instruction. So safety instruction is used where there is a need for general instruction and suggestion relatively to safety measure. So we have this sign design, rounded or blunt corners, no sharp edges, bores or splinters. So we have the slow moving vehicles, fluorescent yellow or orange triangle, dark red reflected border, used only on vehicles moving 25 mph or less. So we have the sign warning o yung may nakalagay na danger. So it easily read and concise. So pag nakita mo ito, talagang mababasa mo talaga ito ng bullshit. So we have the biological hazard. One of actually or potential hazard, identify equipment, containers, rooms, and materials that contain hazard or contaminated. Tags. Yung may nakalagay na caution, do not operate this equipment. So meaning, hindi mo pwedeng galawin yung specific na machine or specific na like sasakyan. So, contain signal word, readable, talagang ito ay readable, and 5 feet, use pictograph, text, or both. So, employers inform on meaning. So, that's all. Thank you, guys.
Hi everyone, by the way, my name is Alfred John Marvin A. from BTL H3. And for today's video, I assigned to report about the signs and their location. So let's proceed. First sign is a danger sign. These signs are safety signs for warning when a hazard or hazardous condition is likely to be life-threatening. The word danger is featured inside a red oval which in turn is inside a black rectangle and often feature other warning symbols. These symbols is very common to us. Next symbol is the quotient sign. When we say quotient sign, these are used in areas where potential injury or equipment damage is possible, or to caution against unsafe practices, or quotient sign should only be used if there is a risk of personal injury. This is also common to us. Next is an exit sign. When we say an exit sign, it is a device in a public facility denoting the location of the closest emergency exit in case of fire or other emergency. This is common especially in malls, hotels, or restaurants. You can see this sign. Next is the safety instruction sign. And the first sign of safety instruction first is accidental prevention tags. So when we say accidental prevention tags, there are different signs, which are the caution, warning, danger, and or equipment must lock. This indicates all the warn to make us informed. So accident prevention tag shall be used as a temporary means of warning employees of an existing hazard, such as defective tools, equipment, etc., and this shall not be used in a place of or a substitute for accident prevention signs. There are substitutes of accident prevention signs for us to inform that we don't need to enter in that area because that area is very harmful. These tags is very more important. Next is the barricades. We all know that this sign is very familiar to us, especially in the road area. If you can see that signs means you're not you're not really want to go there because it was a closed area or has a barrier area. Barricades means is to stop people from going where they want to go. So in summary, um, those signs I mentioned is very important to us because it is a way for us to inform to do not go in a harmful area in order for us to be in safe and make sure that everyone has a right idea or big knowledge about on how to read these signs. That's all. Thank you.
Good day, ma'am. My name is Najma Sultan. My report is this is part of Occupational Rehabilitation Program. Return to Work Coordinator. Following any workplace injury or return to work coordinator will. So, contact our injured worker under treating practitioner to implement the commitments. Second is to determine the need for any occupational rehabilitation assistance in consultation with our injured worker and under treating practitioner and when appropriate refer to the recommended approved occupational rehabilitation provider. Approved occupational rehabilitation provider. So this is the workplace rehabilitation providers and approved workplace rehabilitation provider can assist the employer and injured worker if there are problems with the return to work process. Next is the consultation. Our injured worker and when treating practitioner will be involved in all aspects of the return to work. Our and return to work plans will be developed and review a consultation with them. The last is the commitment. So this is the program represents our commitment to workplace occupational rehabilitation and return to work following work-related injury. Thank you.
So good day everyone. I am Sitrema Moyag and my report topic is about Occupational Rehabilitation Program. So before we start, what is Occupational Rehabilitation Program? An occupational rehabilitation program is a process to develop and administered by skilled, administrative, and health professionals to return injured workers to work as soon as possible. OHSP or Occupational Health and Safety Program personnel will assist our workers to remain at work or to return to work at the earliest opportunity. Specifically, our return to work policy is that first is to return to work planning will commence as soon as possible after an injury consistent with a medical advice. And second is remaining at or early return to work following injury is a normal expectation of this organization treatment and return to work activities and any reasonable necessary occupational rehabilitation services will begin as soon as they are necessary. Third, suitable employment including modified or alternate duties consistent with medical option will be made available to all injured workers at the earliest opportunity. An individual return to work plan will be established with any worker who has had an incapacity for work. This plan will be developed as soon as practicable but no later than 10 days after the relevant day, in consultation with our injured workers and the retreating practitioner. Consultation and communication with the individual workers in the development and review of the individual return to work plans will occur. Confidentiality of works information obtained during the return to work or while undertaking occupational rehabilitation services will be maintained. And participation in a return to work plan will not of itself prejudice any injured workers. That's all. Thank you.